Sometimes, the best stories in golf aren't found on tour. You'll find them at the back of the range. And now, your host, Ben Adelberg.
And welcome again to the Back of the Range Golf Podcast. I am your host, Ben Adelberg. This is episode 69, and this is Masters Week. Very excited to see how everything is going to shake out at Augusta National this week. Looks like there was some early rain, causing some problems for practice sessions, but I am sure that once Saturday and Sunday roll around, we will see the top names contending for the first major of the year. So if you're there, enjoy the Masters firsthand. If you're watching at home or throwing some Masters parties, enjoy that as well. Before we get to this week's episode, just wanted to congratulate our friend Haley Moore from the national champion Arizona Wildcats. A solid top 10 performance at the inaugural Augusta National Women's Amateur. Really looking forward to seeing what that event is going to look like each and every year at Augusta National. You know, along with the drive, chip, and putt, the Women's Am, the Latin America Amateur, the Asia Pacific Amateur, it really is impressive to see what a private country club in Augusta, Georgia is able to do globally for the game of golf. Also need to send some congrats out to my friends Brian Keenan and Paul Royak. They won the Cleveland Heights 4-Ball Invitational this past weekend in Lakeland, Florida. Really one of my favorite tournaments of the year. They played fantastic. They were the runners-up last year. Nice to see that they were able to take the title and put their names on the board. You know, I spoke about this tournament back in Season 1 during the Matt Parziale episode. You know, if you want to learn more about this event, you really need to check it out. So if you're in the Florida area, you want to see how a community rallies together to get as much money together as possible for junior golf, check out 4ball.org. That's the number 4ball.org, and you'll get more information there. Mark Aycock, Tim Darby, and their army of volunteers put on an absolutely fantastic event. It's over 50 years old, and I'm very proud to have my name on the champions board there outside the clubhouse. And how did I play this weekend? Well, you can really tell that I do a podcast because, well, we'll just leave it at that. So you know the drill. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're also on Instagram at the Back of the Range Podcast. And this week on Instagram, we're going to be doing Masters Memories. So we're going to look back at all the previous episodes that we've had over the last couple of years, rehashing some of the stories that we were told from our great guests. You know, do you want to know what Stuart Hagestad, a U.S. Mid-Amateur champion, felt like when he walked into Augusta? Do you want to know what Bob Murphy thinks of how the 10th hole is covered? Or maybe the book that Dottie Pepper reads each and every year before the Masters? Well, follow us on Instagram. You'll get all that information. And again, remember, all of our episodes are available at any time in Apple Podcast and Spotify. Go to thebackoftherange.com for more information. So last week, just a couple days before he was set to leave for Augusta National, I was fortunate enough to get the opportunity to speak with Devon Bling. He is the 2018 U.S. Amateur runner-up, and that punched his ticket to the Masters and the U.S. Open. He's a sophomore at UCLA. He was all Pac-12 freshman team, and he rolled into his first U.S. Amateur last year at Pebble Beach, ranked 302 in the world. What happened next? Well, he got through the stroke play format and then went on to match play and had an incredible run, defeating players that were past top 10 amateurs in the world, a former U.S. junior champion, a former number 1 amateur in the world, and a Pac-12 rival. That got him to the final match against the eventual champion, Viktor Hovland. We talked about the USAM. We talked about growing up in California and his home course of China Lake. And we also got into what it's like to go to college in L.A. and play for the UCLA golf team. So let's get started. Devon, welcome to the Back of the Range. How are you?
Thank you for having me. Really excited for this opportunity. So feeling really good about talking about it.
We're gonna have a lot of fun. For those people listening saying I don't know who Devon Bling is, well, by way of his accomplishments last summer in the United States Amateur, he was runner-up to Viktor Hovland. He is going to the Masters. He is going to the U.S. Open this year. Devon, before we talk about the USAM and the Masters and all these great things that you have on the horizon, I want to talk a little bit about UCLA. I know that you are a native of Ridgecrest, California, Ridgecrest, their population is about 30,000. The undergraduate enrollment for UCLA is about 30,000. How did UCLA get on your radar of where you wanted to go to college?
UCLA had always been a powerhouse in athletics ever since I was a little kid. So growing up, it was always one of the highest choices that I had for golf. And through my junior golf years and the interest at UCLA and Coach Freeman and Coach Christensen and Coach Larkin. Coach Christensen was the assistant at the time.
Sure.
Now it's Coach Larkin. But after they showed interest in me, then I was really excited that they were showing interest in me, and because that was one of my highest schools on the list that I had. So that it was just ever since I was a little kid, I knew UCLA was a powerhouse in athletics and academics, and it was just one of the places where I've always wanted to go.
Well, you go from, like I said, you're going from Ridgecrest, you go to LA now, where, I mean, there's 4 million people that live in Los Angeles. I know there's no language barrier or really big cultural barrier. You're just about, 2.5, 3 hours away from home. But what are some of the things that really hit you once you got on campus, once you got in LA, that just reminded you pretty quick, like, wow, I'm not at home anymore?
Well, the first one's got to be the traffic.
Okay.
I'm not used to driving 3 miles and it taking an hour and a half.
Oh God.
I'm not used to that. Usually, back home, 3 miles is 5 minutes.
Sure.
Or not even. So you just, you have something at 7:00 and you leave at 6:55. So here you have something at 7:00 and it's 5 miles away. You're leaving at 5:45.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest thing that I've noticed. I'm really enjoying being here. Other than that, though, it's really culturally diverse. So I get introduced to a lot of different things. But yeah, that was definitely the biggest thing. And secondly, there's so many more restaurants here. There's so many more choices for food.
Oh, I bet.
At home, it's 1 to 2 restaurants that we're just cycling through each week. And here it's just, what do I want today? There's all this different types of food, and just never gets boring, I guess.
Yeah, you're probably going to need to be at UCLA for at least 4 years to try and hit them all. So you got your work.
Yeah.
You got your work cut out for you there.
I do.
Going from Ridgecrest, your home courses. I mean, Wilshire, Brentwood, Bel Air. I mean, these are the elite private country clubs in LA. Before I ask you about just getting out on those courses on a daily, weekly basis, let's talk about China Lake.
So China Lake is the one golf course in Ridgecrest on the Navy base. It's pretty much the only golf course within 60 miles, 70 miles of either direction. And because it's just the one little municipal golf course that was built, on the Navy base. And I've been playing there since I can remember.
Sure.
Since my dad took me out when I was about 5. It's not in good condition.
Okay.
It's really average, but because of it being such a small town and being the only golf course, everybody knows me there, and they would see me practicing and doing all that different stuff. And at the course, so it became like a little family on that golf course, and they would allow me to do pretty much anything. Like if I wanted to hit balls, like I didn't have to hit at the range. I would be able to take a shag bag onto the golf course and hit onto the greens. So it was, in one way, it wasn't great because of the conditions, but in another, it really helped my golf game and ball striking wise. Because when I see really nice lush grass, everything looks propped up and teed up to me.
Sure.
But yeah, that China Lake golf course built my game to what it is today, and just that little golf course, the only golf course in Ridgecrest, I'm really grateful for it.
Well, and the reason I wanted to bring that up, because, we have, juniors and parents of juniors that listen to this podcast. And in junior golf, there may be that certain way that parents may think that here's how my kid is going to get to college and play collegiately. We have to get the best facilities and the best equipment and the best coaching and perfect country clubs to belong to. And there isn't just one way. There's multiple ways. And you're proving that. You're you're accomplishing things on the amateur level. You're runner up in the USAM, and you're telling me basically you're coming from a course where, I mean, there's just no is. I mean, tell me how the conditions were. Like, what did you have to do to sharpen your game at China Lake when you don't? I'm assuming have the best range balls, the best grass, the best greens. What were some of the things that you did to improve your game?
So in the summertime, my course is everything other than the greens are Bermuda and the greens are bent grass.
Okay.
So in the summertime, the fairways turn green because the Bermuda likes the hot weather. It's extreme temperatures. It's like 115 in the summer and, low mid 30s in the winter. So in the summertime, the golf course got green, sort of like pretty green.
Okay.
To what I would consider green at the time. But the trade-off is that the greens got really slow because we weren't able to cut them very low. So most of my putting practice would be, I wouldn't practice a lot of lag putting at my golf course in the summertime.
Right.
I had my dad bought me like a putting mat at home that would roll quite a bit faster. So if I was hitting anything outside 5 feet, I would putt on that. But at the golf course, I hit a lot of, putts inside 5 feet because those are really, you're hitting them pretty much. To me, I hit them one speed and I choose the break, and that's how I hit those putts. So I forgot to practice those there. But in the summertime, that's when I guess the best grass would be on the golf course. But like I said, it'd be kind of long because we didn't want to burn the entire course. We had done that before.
Okay.
Now in the winter, as it transitioned out, the Bermuda hates the cold weather. So as soon as the winter comes around, the golf course turns completely brown and gold. So it's no grass. The only thing green is the green itself. And the problem is the Canadian geese fly in the wintertime, and they like to eat the grass on the golf course. And what they do is they completely tear the golf course up. They rip the grass out of the roots. And then the rabbits come on to the greens and chew up the greens majorly. So in the wintertime, we have no grass and extremely bumpy greens. Like very, very bumpy greens because they're all chewed up. There's patches missing and stuff like that. So that's what I have to deal with in the wintertime. However, I took the best thing that I did was I hit off those fairways, and I told myself if I can hit off those lies, when I come to a golf course that has grass, that's going to be no problem for me.
Yeah, you could do anything if you're hitting off of that stuff.
Yeah, so I'm basically hitting off of hay and loose grass that the wind would be able to blow off the ground when the wind would blow. So I just practiced hitting a lot of golf balls with irons and everything, even driver off the deck, off of that stuff, because I knew when I get to a place where there is nice grass and nice greens, then it would be no problem for me. I would think this is really nice.
You realize what you're doing here is anytime anyone in history has ever said, I just can't practice there, they don't have any grass. I mean, no one can ever use that excuse with what you've been able to do at China Lake and to get where to accomplish things you've been able to accomplish. So, I mean, and then coming to LA, what did you think when you saw the practice facilities and the courses? You're just thinking to yourself, I'm in heaven. How did this happen?
Oh yeah, no, I thought they were incredible. The first time I saw LA Country Club, I was in awe. Like I just was like, whoa, this is unbelievable. Because there's the greens are smooth and the grass is nice, and I was like, wow, I'm not used to this. This is incredible. And just basically every course I play over here, it's leaps and bounds condition wise better than home.
Sure.
And that's why coming here, then whenever somebody else or one of my friends or something would say, wow, that's not a great lie, I'd be like, what are you talking about? This is great. I haven't seen this in years.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So you're enjoying yourself on the team. You guys actually were recording this just right the week before you head out to Augusta. You guys had a really great victory out at Chambers Bay. 12-shot win, 12-shot team win. Hide Yoshihara, your teammate, finished first. You finished T2, just 2 shots back. I mean, sounds like your game's kind of really rounding up. But I actually wanted to ask you, the last time anyone really, or last time I was ever thinking about Chambers Bay was during the U.S. Open, where they had all those, really rough conditions, I guess, for the pros. Nothing's rough for you, but I know they redid the greens. What can you tell me and people listening that know what went on at Chambers Bay a few years ago. How are the conditions at Chambers Bay?
The conditions were actually, greens-wise, it was a lot better than the older fescue greens. That's what I've heard. I never played the older one, but literally the course had opened up a couple of days before we showed up. And so the greens are really new, so they hadn't grown in yet. So it was almost like playing on AstroTurf in a way. But they definitely did, according to others who had played the other course, they rolled a lot smoother and a lot straighter than the old greens. Since they were new, they were a little slow, but they rolled pretty nicely, and there were, a lot of slopes. It was my first time out there, and knowing that I'd watched the U.S. Open in 2015, it was just really nice to be out there, and it's just such a great property.
Okay.
Huge property, great views, and really good golf course. The lies on the fairway weren't great, and it was a little sandy, and it's just the typical fescue grass cut low, and honestly, it was nice to me.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I had no problem with it, and ball striking wise, yeah, I hit the ball incredibly well. And I was super proud of Hide for winning. He played incredible. I shot 62 in the second round.
Yeah.
That is not easy to do on any course, no matter how easy it is.
Yeah.
So I was super proud of him. And, I was proud of myself for just applying a little pressure on the final day. And I played well overall throughout the whole tournament. And it was actually a good confidence boost going into next week.
Absolutely. Well, 69, 66, 67, those are three great scores. And, as you said, it leads you right into next week at Augusta National at the Masters. I wanted to, just before we go on and talk a little bit about what got you there, the USAM and about the Masters, I just wanted to touch on your assistant coach, Andrew Larkin. I know that you have he joined around August 2015 at UCLA. You signed at UCLA around November 2016. I know you wanted to go to UCLA. It sounds like that was your dream school from when you were very young, but talk about finding a coach that you click with. He's going to be on the bag for you at the Masters. He was on the bag for you at the USAM. Explain the relationship that you have with Coach Larkin.
Me and Coach Larkin, like you said, we just click really well. And when we're on the golf course, we work together really well. And whenever I suggest a shot, like, he's not afraid to tell me, like, okay, that's probably not going to turn out well.
Okay.
And that's what I like. I like having that back and forth between me and my caddy. I just don't want my caddies to always agree with what I'm saying.
Right.
But yeah, he's always pushing me to be better. And one thing he does really well is he keeps me calm, and he looks at things as a whole in perspective. Where, like, if I hit a bad shot, I'd be upset with myself. And, why did I do that? That's not, I don't ever do that. Why did I just do that? Where he goes, hey, look at it. It's one shot. You're going to play thousands of rounds of golf, and it's one shot. You're going to hit one bad shot. So let's just move forward, and let's try to get that up and down, or let's try to make par from there. So he looks at everything in a really positive way. And that's one thing that kept me going throughout the USAM. He's been really good with that and pushing me to be better and telling me off when I'm doing something wrong. And
well, yeah,
that's why we work together so well. And that's why I wanted him on my bag for the Masters. And that's why I had him on the bag for the USAM. So he's just always pushing me to be better, and not just in golf, but in life itself. So we've come together really close, and we work really well.
I had the opportunity to speak with him a little bit before we had a chance to talk today. So give me an example of what a Devon Bling moment is.
A Devon Bling moment would be, let's see, a huge one would probably be, I'm in the middle of the fairway. I've just come off a birdie on the last hole. It's a par 5. This hole that I'm on is a par 5, and I've got a right pin with water right, and my gut instinct is I'm firing right at it because I'm going to make eagle. And that's where he comes in and he goes, okay, let's think about this a little bit.
Uh-huh.
You fire at this pin and you don't catch it perfectly. Now we're in the water, and now we're trying to make par, whereas you aim this left. I've buried 50 or 30-foot putts before. I could make it, but I could 2-putt for an easy 4. how about we make life easy on you, and let's just aim a little left of this flag. So it's just typical stuff like that because I grew up just firing at pins.
Sure.
I never would, aim that far away. I wouldn't do something dumb. If it was tucked way left, I would aim a little right, but I wouldn't honestly think about the percentages. And for me, I'm a pretty aggressive player. I like, whenever there's a par 5, honestly have a hard time laying up.
Okay.
And I always like going for the green, because if I have the distance to get to the green, my theory is why not get it to the green? And so that's where, when he comes in and we talk about the game plan, and that's where he, basically guides me on the smarter option. And that's really helped my golf game to this day. So that's usually a moment where he would definitely advise against what I'm thinking.
Yeah, he was alluding to the fact that you'll do stuff like that, and then you'll rinse one on your second shot and still figure out a way to make par.
I got a good one. At the farms last year, nobody was walking with me at this point. So Coach Freeman or Coach Larkin, they were walking with other players, and I knew that the game plan on the hole was to hit 4-iron off the par 5. And I didn't love that play because I like hitting driver.
Right.
So I grabbed my 4-iron, walked back to the tee, and something felt off about what I was doing. I felt uncomfortable over the tee and over the ball. And of course, I make the swing, hit it straight out of bounds right with a 4-iron. And now I'm thinking, what am I doing? I literally have to re-tee right now, and I just hit 4-iron off the tee. I just hit it out of bounds with a 4-iron. So I was kind of in shock of what I just done. So I walked back over to my bag, grabbed another ball. I was about to take 4-iron back to the tee. And I was like, you know what? If I hit driver and I hit a good one, I can get to the green. And so instead of re-teeing with a 4-iron or maybe in a 5-iron just for safety, I grabbed driver and went back to the tee. And I actually smoked a driver down there, and I had 255 into the wind. With water all the way down the right, so I could have made a huge number on this hole.
Of course,
but again, nobody was walking with me, so I was basically going with my gut feeling. So I grabbed a 3-iron, and the wind was off the right a little bit, and I aimed it over the water and hit a high draw, and it came off perfectly. And I hit a high draw to like 3 feet and made that for par. So nobody had any idea of what I had just done on that hole, except obviously me and the group members that I was playing with. But when Larkin came over and asked me, how's the first couple of holes going, I was like, I just started off, par, par.
Nice.
And nobody had any idea. But yeah, that's just, whenever I like you said, I rinse one or something, I'm always looking at the opportunity to try to make a ridiculous par or get it up and down from somewhere crazy. I love that challenge. So I've done that so many times. I've done that where I've hit a ball into the water, and out of the drop zone, I've got up and down for 4 or bogey, and I've, instead of making double, I just made bogey, or like that instance where I knocked it OB off tee with an iron, and then I hit driver 3-iron and made par. Right. So that's like the crazy, typical Devon Bling moment, I guess.
Who ratted you out? Did you rat yourself out with how you made par, or did someone else rat you out? I mean, did you want to walk up and brag about it, or were you like, all right, it's just a number on the card, nobody needs to know, nobody saw anything?
To Coach Larkin, I had to say something. I said, Coach, what do you think I just did on the last hole? He was like, what'd you do? And I was like, well, I hit an OB, then hit the fairway, knocked it on, and made the putt for par. And he's like, you're insane. That's crazy.
This is why you can't be unsupervised, basically, is what you're saying.
Yeah, it worked out that time, but now that I think about it, that could have gone. I could have hit the driver out of bounds because it was such a tight fairway. I could have hit the driver out of bounds, and then I'm making 15 on that hole.
Oh yeah, but you could have made a pretty big mess.
Oh yeah,
that's awesome. What That's just great because I love the fact that you're like nobody was with me. I
Yeah.
was left to my own responsibility, and I can't be trusted. So, you head over to the USAM. I know you've played in a couple of US juniors. You qualified back to back for 2 US juniors, made match play in those, and then you get started with the USAM. This is your first time qualifying. You get in I mean, really competitive qualifier in San Diego. I think you shot about 133 or something
Yeah.
to medalist. So you play great to get in. You're at the time you're ranked number 302 in the world. Solid player in the Pac-12, but I would imagine you're not at the top of people's list. The players that you beat in match play, it's just absolutely incredible. I mean, Shintaro Bond's already turned pro, but he was a former top 10 amateur in the world. Noah Goodwin won the U.S. Junior in 2017. Davis Riley, 2-time All-American. That's in the quarters. You beat Isaiah Salinda. You know him well. He's at Stanford. I watched a lot of the video on Fox of you playing these matches, and you would think that you've been there many times because you just look like you're absolutely confident in everything you're doing. Did you have any sort of a feeling whatsoever starting in, or did things just kind of snowball and grow from match to match?
It just kind of grew from match to match. I didn't come into that tournament with any expectations because it was my first USAM, and I was really hoping to qualify for this one because it's at Pebble, and I've always wanted to play Pebble.
Sure.
So yeah, I didn't get off to a great start in stroke play. I didn't play too well at Pebble, and then I played really well at Spyglass. And I think that's when the confidence grew a little bit because I struck it really well at Spyglass, and that was the harder of the two courses at the time because the rough was up, the greens were fast, everything, and I struck it really well. I hit the ball incredibly well, and for me to do that in the second round of stroke play and shoot under par at Spyglass when not a lot of people were, that was a good confidence boost for me. But as soon as I got into match play is a completely different beast. It's a whole nother pretty much game. And now you're basing your decisions off what your opponent has just done. So it was different. I've played, a little bit of match play in junior golf, like you said, in U.S. Junior and stuff, and I wasn't too successful in the U.S. Junior, so I just kind of took it one hole at a time. And I got off to a really good start, won the first match 5-4, and then the next day was that 36-hole day. So again, I was just like, it's going to be a really long day. Just take it one shot at a time. And Coach Larkin was on the bag at this point, and so he had scheduled tee times to play with his buddies at different courses around in Monterey at the time.
Okay.
And as soon as I won the first match, I was on the 36-hole day. He's like, all right, I got to cancel one tee time. And he's like, hopefully I'll be canceling tee times all week. Right. And this is, I think, Tuesday at this point. And so we played that day, and I played Shintaro, who's obviously, a great player.
Yeah.
Super good. And tough match, and we were battling back and forth, and I won on the 18th hole, and it felt really good to win that match because I was like, wow, now I'm in, to the round of 16. 16.
Yeah.
This 132. So I was playing Noah Goodwin. I've played him a couple times in junior golf, and also know he's a great golfer, and it was just one of those things I said, let's just take it one at a time. And as I was playing, I was hitting it really well, so my confidence was slowly growing. And I was playing Noah, and I hit a good putt on 17. It lipped out, missed it. He made par to go one up on me going to 18. And even though he was one up, I was like, I can still win this match. It's still possible. And we get to 18, and the greens were really bumpy late in the day, and he missed a shorter putt to give me some life in the match. And we got to the 20th hole, and I hit it to a foot to beat him. And that's when I started to realize, like, oh, I can do this because I just won the round of 16. I'm into the quarterfinals, and my coach was like, Bling, we can do this. And that's when I started to believe. I always believe in myself. That's one of my mottos. But the confidence that I had and the belief at that moment was overwhelming. And as soon as I won that match and I went to sleep that night, woke up to play Davis, he was former #1 in the world. And
yeah,
I talked to a couple of my teammates the night before. They were pretty proud of me. They had watched the match and they were just like, you can win. Like, just believe in yourself. And that gave me a boost. And when I played Davis, that was one of the best. That was a great match that I played against him. It was a battle back and forth. Wasn't playing easy that day. And, I got up and down on 18 for the win. And I love being in that situation. I love being able to, I've always dreamed about, getting up and down or making a 4-footer to win. And on that 4-footer to beat Davis, I was extremely nervous. And Coach Larkin knows that. I was standing on the green. I was like, wow, I'm shaking. And he did a great job in calming me down. He's just like, you've made thousands of putts like this. You just got to make one more. And that was huge for me. And I knocked it in. And then, I got into the semifinals, and that's when I was like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go all the way.
Is the semifinal match at the U.S. Amateur, I know you've only been in one of them and you won it, but is that the most nerve-wracking match that you can probably play in as an amateur, knowing what's on the other side of winning that match?
I honestly forgot at that point. I didn't even think about the Masters of the U.S. Open. I completely forgot about those two things. I was just, and that's completely honest. I just was there to play golf against Isaiah. I've known him because he's played in the Pac-12. We play a lot, and he's also a super great player. He's really good. And no, I completely forgot because I was so into the moment of what was happening in that match. The only time I remembered was after I walked off the 18th green, winning one up, and Coach Larkin goes like, "We're in the Masters and U.S. Open," and I was like, I didn't even think about that.
That's incredible. That's absolutely incredible. I mean, I for you to be just so lasered in on the match itself and the USAM, that's incredible. So you really put that out of mind. You're just thinking, get me to the finals.
Yeah, no, at that point I was so laser focused on that semifinal match. And I almost think if if I put that thought of the Masters and U.S. Open in my head, I might not have played as well because I would have been more nervous.
Of course.
I mean, obviously I was pretty nervous going into it, but I would have been more nervous thinking about those two things. So I don't know what it was. I was just so laser focused on that match and just trying to get into the final. And then I ended up, that was some of the best golf of my life I played that day. I mean, Isaiah shot, I think 4 under that day.
Yeah, I think you both.
I shot like 5 or 6 under, and he shot 4 under. And 4 under on that course usually wins match play 99% of the time. And I just played incredible golf, and he played incredible golf. It was honestly one of the most back and forth, most exciting matches I've ever been a part of. That's what got my mind off all the other stuff. Is just I was having so much fun just playing in this match, and it just took my mind off everything else.
Well, that's incredible that you kept it together for that, and then obviously you go to the final. I know you drop it to Victor Hovland. I'm not going to ask you to go through each and every hole there, but I wanted to ask you. I mean, I think he was only down 1 hole for the entire match play portion. He was just kind of, I think everyone ran into a buzzsaw when they faced you, and then it's almost like you kind of ran into a buzzsaw when you faced him. But tell me, what happened on the first tee? Did you happen to forget something before you started?
Yeah, so going into the final,
I'm sorry. Can we laugh about this? I'm sorry.
Oh no, yeah, no. It's actually a funny story. And what happened is I had my Strackline book. I thought it was in my bag, so I usually have it in one pocket before I start the tournament. I put in my yardage book and all this. So I opened the pocket and I didn't see the book.
This is the green reading book, not the yardage book.
Yeah, this is the Strackline book, and I usually mark all the pin locations in there to see like what slopes are around the hole and where ideally I want to putt from. So I opened the pocket, I looked at Coach Larkin, and I was like, I don't even know where the book is. I think I left it in the car. So I ran down and told my dad, and my dad and my I think it was my uncle, they ran to the car and started just rotor tilling the car, just trying to find this book. And so I was like, oh my gosh, like I need to get this book before it starts, and we're about to tee off in 5 minutes. And then I walked back, and I was just like, I hope they find it. I was grabbing a ball, then marking my ball for the tournament. I opened the other pocket, and it's just sitting in that pocket with my golf ball.
God.
And I was like, wow, I just caused all that commotion for nothing. Because it was all I had to do was open one more pocket. If I just checked my bag first before my dad and everybody was like destroying the car trying to find it, I would have been a lot more calm. And so that was just, I forgot that I thought I lost that green reading book, the Strackline book, before the round even started. So didn't get off to a great start there.
Well, yeah, when you don't have that. I've done similar things like that, and it is actually nerve-wracking. I think I've done that with like car keys and phones, and you're just, it's an awful, awful feeling, especially when you have to go play. And oh, by the way, it's just the finals of the USAM. Yeah. So, well, I guess it kind of kept things a little bit in perspective because, you can always have a Devon Bling moment no matter what stage you're on. Things can get a little bit lost. So obviously, you're getting into the Masters. You had a great summer after that. Obviously, you win the California State Fair Amateur. How have your teammates kept you grounded? Knowing what's in store for you this year. Are you just they kind of treat you as just one of the guys?
It's just normal. It just went back to normal. Obviously, they knew I was playing in the Masters and U.S. Open, and they would say it like at sometimes, and they would. They're really excited for me. We're all super tight, and they're really excited that I was going to be playing in the Masters and U.S. Open. But yeah, it just went back to normal. They kept being the great teammates that they are, kept pushing me. We have these little matches for punishments, and that just never changed. Even after the USAM, it went back to normal, and that's probably how it stayed grounded. They did a really good job of doing that.
Explain to me, if you can, as nicely as possible, what can you tell me that people need to know about Eddie Lai? Because I'm guessing as an outsider, I've never met your team, I've never been around your team, but just by looking at the team photos, checking out you guys on Instagram, that's the guy I need to hang out with, isn't it?
Oh yeah. You need to spend a day with Eddie.
Okay.
It is. I've never met anyone like him. He's incredible. He's like the most happy and jumpy and excited person I've ever met. I've never met somebody else like Eddie, and he just brings that aspect to the team, and it really helps the team. But yeah, you definitely need to spend a day with Eddie.
Are there Eddie Lai moments that are similar to Devon Bling moments?
There are. He's not a problem starter though.
Okay.
He definitely not. But he definitely isn't afraid to show his emotion. Like if I make a putt, and I was watching the highlights for the USAM after I had played just to see what the TV coverage was like, and every time I made a putt, I heard Eddie.
Oh wow.
Everybody else was, clapping and cheering, but I heard Eddie every time. And that's Eddie.
Yeah.
Like, that's all I can say. That's just Eddie. And I'm glad I'm good friends with him. Because he's just, I really don't know how to explain it. He's just Eddie, and that's how he is. But yeah, I like to be around him a lot because he brings that energy. And he brought that energy at the USAM.
I will have to go back and watch that coverage because I want to see if I can pick him out. But if you've heard him every time, then I'm sure I'll be able to. So
you will.
Okay, good. So you're heading to the Masters next week. Have you played the course yet? I know that you're going to get some practice in next week, but have you been there yet?
Yeah, I've taken 5 trips to the golf course already.
Nice. There you go. There you go. Make them kick you out. They can't kick you out. Do whatever you want. I love it. That's great.
Yeah. No, yeah. I went there. I was there as early as possible. I left as late as possible. So I used I think I was just there over my spring break, I think 24th, 25th, 26th. And I played 36 holes, 22 holes. And because I had to catch a flight that last day, but Yeah, I played so much golf, and it's always been a dream to play that golf
Oh, of
course.
course.
Only time I've ever played it was on PlayStation, and yeah, that's the only time I'd ever seen the course. And obviously, I've been watching highlights, and I've watched all the different Masters and
Okay.
all the great shots, and I've literally that's just been I've been doing that every day. I watch something on YouTube or some documentary on the Masters every day.
Okay, interesting, because that's one of the questions I wanted to ask you. Are you a golf historian or a Masters historian, or are you trying to keep the slate clean, so to speak, and just go in and enjoy it without any sort of maybe expectations or too much advice? I mean, sounds like you're trying to take as much information as you can.
Yeah, so obviously I'm going to go there and embrace the nerves I'm going to feel, and the crowd and everything else. I'm obviously going to embrace and enjoy that, and enjoy
Yeah.
having my family out there and watching. But I was playing with Corey Pavin, and I was lucky enough to play a round of 18 with him at Bel Air, and he basically said, like, it's just another tournament. Even, yeah, I know it's the Masters, and I know it's on another level, and it's your first Masters, so it's okay to be nervous, and it's okay to feel that excitement, but treat it just like another golf tournament. You're going out there, and you're going out there to play the best you can. And that's one thing that I'm going to go out there and do is I'm going to leave it all out there.
Yeah.
I'm going to play. I'm going to give it my absolute best, no matter what the outcome is. I've prepped enough, and me and Coach Larkin have come up with a system where I send notes on every 6 holes in blocks at a time. So the first 6, and then the second 6, and the final 6. I send him notes on every hole. So I've been watching every year's Masters. I've watched all the champions' shots and stuff like that, just to see where they hit the ball and where they're placing the ball on the golf course, because obviously it worked for them.
Yeah.
So I've been doing a lot of that and getting a lot of information on the greens, because the greens are extremely tough. And I took those notes and went out there and played the practice rounds. And yeah, I'm just basically trying to get as much information on the golf course as I can, because I'm going to go out there and do my best. And I know no matter what the outcome is, if I feel as though I prepared to the best of my ability, then it's a win for me.
Absolutely.
But if I went out there and I know I didn't prepare properly, and I was lazy in my preparation, then obviously it wouldn't feel good, because I know I could have done better. But I'm pretty much doing everything I can just to go out there and give myself the best opportunity to play well.
It's great that you're utilizing, I mean, I wouldn't say it's modern technology, but we're in the age and generation where it's all at your fingertips. You can watch, I mean, YouTube's right there, and yeah, that's fantastic. Any particular year that you've watched that maybe you watched more than once or twice? I mean, I'm assuming you're a Tiger guy, right?
Yeah, I'm a big Tiger fan. But I've watched all of his 97, 01, 02, 05.
Okay, nice.
I've watched all those multiple times, and just by watching it, I've seen the golf course actually adapt over the years. It's gotten longer, and there have been addition of trees, and some of the trees, trees have been taken out. But yeah, it's just I watched Jack Nicklaus's 86 Masters when he won. I watched, Phil's Masters in 04, 06, and 10. And, I've watched even, Mike Weir's Masters in 03, VJ's in 2000. I've watched everything. I've just watched what each player has done. And yeah, I'm a huge Tiger fan. So obviously I've watched all of his, and I've hit the chip that he hit in 2005 on 16.
Oh, man.
And I just had to do it.
Of course.
And I had my caddy lay down the flag, lay down that pin location, and I had to chip balls to that using the slope that he did.
Did you get anywhere close?
Oh yeah, I did. It's definitely possible.
Okay.
It's got to be on the perfect line, but definitely possible. I've hit chips from there every time I've gone. So the 5 trips I've taken, I've hit probably 5 chips from that spot every single time, and just trying to recreate what he did.
That's so cool.
So just stuff like that. But yeah, I've watched definitely, Tiger and Phil's Masters and even Jordan Spieth's Masters multiple times.
Yeah. Do you have practice rounds set up?
Right now, the only one I've set up is with Larry Mize on Monday. He's obviously a champion and he's got a lot of knowledge. So I'll be playing with him on Monday at 11 o'clock. So that's going to be good. But I don't have anything else set up. Obviously, it'd be an honor and a dream to play with Tiger for 9 holes.
Oh, sure.
It would be an honor and a dream to play with like Phil or DJ or Ricky or Rory, just all those guys. And obviously, there's only 3 days that I can possibly do that. But I think if I can play with Tiger and DJ or Phil or somebody, that would be an absolute dream come true.
That'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
You have, and the really great thing is about being an amateur is that I guess it's just ranks a little bit below, obviously, being a past champion, but you have a dinner to attend Wednesday night, the night after the champions dinner. So you've been at several USGA events, you've had speakers. You're going to be at this amazing dinner of honoring the amateurs that are playing this year. I'm sure you're going to meet all these Augusta National members. You're going to meet past champions. You're going to meet a lot of people that are, the world's best. But who would you like to be in that amateur dinner? If you could pick someone's brain there, whether they're a past champion or anyone, who would you like to maybe pop into that amateur dinner and share a few words?
It would have to be Tiger.
Yeah.
I know it's cliche and all.
No,
but
hey, that's your guy. That's your guy.
I've watched him since I was little, and in the golfing world, I watched him playing. The mental toughness and the fire and that desire to win every single tournament was incredible to watch. So I definitely want to pick his brain because, he's done it better than most everyone to ever play the game. It'd probably be Tiger and probably Jack Nicklaus. So it would be the two that I would most likely want to share a few words with. Luckily, I got to meet Jack Nicklaus at the USAM dinner for a few minutes, but then that was an absolute honor to shake his hand.
Those are two of the top ones. Well, making the cut, I know, is a goal for everyone that plays the Masters. It really doesn't matter if you're a amateur and collegiate player from UCLA, or if you're a past champion that's, chasing a little more daylight before their career comes to a close. Making the cut basically gives you 2 more rounds at Augusta National, and, that's something that money really can't buy. So let me throw some hypotheticals at you and see where you land on this. So
okay.
I want to see if I can get you to crack here. You're going to make the cut in both of these scenarios, but you got to pick one. One, you win the low amateur, or the other, you get to play Saturday and Sunday with Tiger Woods, but you don't win the low amateur. Which would you choose?
Ooh, that's a good one.
These are not going to get easy. I've been really nice to you, Devin, the whole time, man, but I've saved some stuff at the end here that, oh yeah. So you can either win the low am, but you don't get to play with Tiger, or you play Saturday, Sunday with Tiger, but you're not going to get the low am. But you make the cut both times. You play 4 rounds.
I'd want to win the low am.
I'm very impressed. Good answer. I know your brother is going to be on the bag for you at the par 3 contest. So would you like to win the par 3 contest with your brother on the bag? You get that awesome trophy. You're in the record books, or make the cut.
I want to make the cut.
Okay. All right. Let's see. How about eagling 13 and 15 on both days? That's 4 pieces of crystal, or make the cut.
Ooh.
I'll tell you what. Let me sweeten it. Let me see if I can get you to crack. I'll throw in a hole-in-one on 16.
So 13, eagling 13, eagling 15, and a hole-in-one on 16, both days.
I'm only going to give you 1 hole-in-one. I'm giving you 5 pieces of crystal, but you don't make the cut.
But I don't make the cut?
No, 2 days. But you get up. But
man, I must have been playing bad on the other hole.
Well, these things happen. Don't confuse the number. Don't confuse people with numbers. Just no. But yeah.
No, I would honestly like to make the cut.
Okay, all right. I see we're reaching an impasse here. I'm not getting you to crack, but that's good. That's good. I like it. So we'd like to end our segments here at the back of the range with a little segment called the Quick Bucket, and it's a lot of random questions. I've asked questions like, what would be the more impressive victory? Tiger winning a 5th green jacket or Jack winning in 86? So I'll ask you that question. Which would be the more substantial victory? Tiger winning the 5th or Jack winning in 86?
Tiger winning the 5th.
Okay. So we're not going to go down the line of questions that I've asked other guests, but I'm going to leverage the uniqueness of your last name and get your feedback on some of the fashion things that we've seen in golf. Would you like to play the game of bling or no bling?
Yeah, I'll play bling.
Okay, perfect. Tiger showing up at major championships with his hat backwards and sunglasses on and sleeveless t-shirt. Bling or no bling?
Bling.
Tiger's cargo shorts.
No bling.
Calf socks.
No bling.
Okay. Let's see. Wide brim visors.
No bling.
Push carts.
Bling.
Wedges stamped with more than your name or your initials.
Bling.
Phil's dress shirts.
No bling.
Neon lights under a car.
No bling.
Eddie Lai.
Bling.
Rory's gold shoes.
Bling.
Coach Derek Freeman's necktie.
Bling.
All right, the final one. Coach Andrew Larkin's dancing at his wedding that you attended.
No bling.
Devon, this has been awesome. I am so glad that you've been able to take a little bit of time out before heading to Augusta to play in the Masters next week. I can't even imagine just to be able to hop on a plane, head out there and enjoy it. So best of luck to you. Enjoy the experience. Enjoy the experience with your family, with your coach. Just take it all in, and hopefully we can catch up sometime after that. I'd love to get your thoughts on the whole experience, but seriously, enjoy it and congrats.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
And there you have it, episode 69. Special thanks to Devon Bling from UCLA for joining us for this week's special Masters edition. Enjoy the Masters. We will see you again next week for episode 70 here at the back of the range.